what's going on? I'm recording this video as a journal, as a video trade journal for myself. And today was not a good day. I just finished journaling first couple of trades of the morning. I didn't bother trading the rest because it was due to that first trade that kind of led to the spiraling of the rest of the day. We opened green today on micro E-mini S&P, and first off, I had a good night Thursday night. I had a great night. Took the reclaim of 55.58 after acceptance. Worked out really well for level to level move. I was good for the night. Didn't take another trade after that, and I was really proud of myself for that. You know, I saw the setup present. I took it level to level, and I was done. And I was really happy about that. This morning, 3:14 Friday. Today's Friday. It's basically end of day. I took and I should never take these trades. I know from the past that I should never attempt these trades. I've had bad experiences in the past many times. And even as I was taking it, I was telling myself, you know, the likelihood of this trade working is very slim while I was in the trade. And I still didn't get out. That just goes to show like how your mind completely goes to a different frame of mind when you're actually trading. You could have your plan, you could have exactly what you want to see, you could have everything to the T on paper before the day even starts, before the market even opens. But the second you step into a trade, the second you actually start engaging with the market, all that hard work goes out the window. I don't know why. All the planning goes out the window, everything. I don't know what it is. It's like a disconnect. So my first trade was trying to take the breakout of 55.99. And in the morning, I took this with one contract because my internet was really spotty. I didn't know what was going on. So I took it with one contract. Usually my first trade of the day, I'll try to take with like one or two contracts to kind of feel out the market. So I took it with one contract, and it was really rallying really strong. So I wanted to add more. And of course, I couldn't because I was having internet issues. So I was stuck in one contract. I actually restarted my phone and restarted the platform all while I was in this one contract. Not knowing what the market was doing. And then I opened it back up and I see that the market was essentially pumping higher. Eventually I was able to add more, but I added at a very terrible spot. So I think my first contract that I got in at, I think it was at 55.85. I have my trades open right here. I took it 55.85, so right below 55.99. Originally, I wanted to actually get in much lower than that. I had wanted to get in. I'd wanted to get in at like 72, like 55.68 to 72, because we had like broken down earlier that morning. So when I took that first trade, I was in one contract, and then I got out of that contract, it looks like. Actually, no. I was in that one contract, and then I scaled in another 6, so I was in 7 total. So with that position on, the market rejects. It was a hard rejection at 56.07. And I tried to hold. Because I'd gotten the rest, I got it in at the rest of the position at 56.04, so it obviously moved my average up. And then the market rejects, went back down to 55.96. So I ended up getting out there, okay? And I got out there for a couple $100 loss. And then I decided to get back in. Where did I decide to get back in? I decided to get back in around the area where where we had kind of been sitting at after the rejection at 55.96. So I averaged in at 55.97, 96, up to 10 contracts. Because I'm thinking at that point, we already rejected. We're kind of holding. We're holding the 55.90s area. I'm going to get in. Because I think, we'd already failed broken down at that point once in the morning. We'd kind of failed broken down off of the 72.68 zone. So it was going to give us momentum maybe to push higher. So I get in 10 contracts with an average roughly, 55.97-ish. After that, we flushed. And I mean, we flushed, almost back testing. We were a couple points shy from back testing 55.58 to 55.60 zone, which is a very major zone at that point. And I tried to hold again, hoping, and this is what I should never do. This is something you should never do in trading. If you're holding a position and you start to rationalize, or forget about if you're holding a position and you tell yourself you're going to hold because you're waiting for it to turn around, just get out. You should just get out. And that's actually what I did. I did that, but I did that too late. I wanted to wait right before I got auto liquidated because of the margin requirements. I got out right before there was an opportunity for the market to auto liquidate me. You should never do that. You should never, ever, ever, ever do that. And this is my third time doing it this week. And it was the reason for all of my major losses this week. It is the reason why I have snowballed back down the hill after making an incredible amount of gains last week, and then basically giving it all back because of this. Because I decided to hold on a spike on the hopes that it's going to turn around. Now, of course, you guys know what I'm talking about. This means I didn't have a stop on. That's exactly what that meant. It means I did not put in a hard stop in the market. And you should never do that. I was having luck with this last week when I made those gains that I was just telling you about. I made it a habit of taking big size, or what is for me big size 10 contracts, level to level moves with no stop, because I know that the market likes to touch the stops and then run back towards your direction. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to monitor the trades. I'm not going to put a hard stop so I don't get prematurely stopped out, and have it work in my direction. And surprisingly worked out very well last week. This is a new week. So of course, when I tried to do that again, nothing works forever, guys. Nothing works forever. Especially something that if you're not managing your risk wisely, it's definitely going to come to bite you in the butt. 100%. So of course, I didn't have my stop, reverses, and of course, it's never good. Let me tell you, if you think you can get away with a mental stop, you're mental. Just like Peter Tuchman says, if you trade with a mental stop, you're mental, because you think you're going to be able to get yourself out right away. No, your human emotion is going to tell you this could turn around. The market is just stop hunting, and it's going to go back up. Although it worked for me a lot last week, and honestly, that was foolish of me to do anyway. You should never trade without a stop. Never. I could have at least mitigated my losses by having a hard stop, even if I had a 3-point stop or a 5-point stop, it would have been $250 losses. 250 if I kept a 5-point stop and I had 10 contracts on. $250 losses. Compared to what? Compared to my $1,100 losses that I incurred with a mental stop. This is trading. This is trading. I didn't journal the rest of the trades because, oh, by the way, and so I was telling you guys, I held on and then I eventually got out to not get auto liquidated, because when you get auto liquidated, you get charged a $50 fee if you trade with Tradevate. That's how they do it. You get auto liquidated, $50 fee. So to prevent myself from losing any more money, I just closed the position so I wouldn't get auto liquidated, which still lost a bunch of money, but I was able, I guess, to at least save $50, which really didn't matter anyway, because after that trade, it's funny, after that trade, I got back in another trade, and this is where I got in at around the bottom of the flush. I got in at around, where did I get in? 55, 75. So I got in like towards the bottom of the flush that I was just talking about, that I got out before I got auto liquidated. I re-entered towards the bottom, and guess what? It actually worked. This trade actually worked. Did it get me back up to where I was prior to my trading today? No. But it did get me really close. I basically made back 90% of my profits. 90% of my profits I basically made back. Was that enough? No. That was not enough. What did I have to do? I had to get back to where I was. I had to get back to at least break even, if not in a little bit of profit. This is trading. This is trading. This is a mind-boggling profession. Mind-boggling. It really messes with you mentally, emotionally, everything. At this point, I'm irritated. I'm irritated at the market. I'm irritated at myself. I'm irritated at everything. And it's like, I should have just... This is my biggest problem, okay? I don't know if you guys have the same problem. My biggest problem is not walking away. That is my number one biggest problem. Till this day, I cannot just take a small loss and walk away. If I could do that, I wouldn't have these problems. And honestly, I need to work next week. I'm gonna force myself. If I end up taking a small loss, I walk away. 3 to 5 point stop, fixed, walk away. Just call it a day. I need to do that for myself. I need to do that for myself mentally. I need to do this for my trading. I need to do this for my longevity. Because if I don't do it, guess what? I'm gonna keep doing stuff like this. I'm gonna keep doing stuff like this, and I'm not gonna get anywhere. I'm just not gonna get anywhere. It's gonna be a recurring theme. Just constantly making money, losing it, making money, losing it. That's not a way to trade, number one. That's not a way to live, because you're always mentally messed up from that. I don't care how long you've been trading. I don't care how long you've been trading. I don't care how good you've gotten at losing. The mental aspect never goes away. The mental pain sometimes maybe even manifests to physical pain because of how stressed you are. It never goes away. It maybe gets lessened to a degree. It maybe gets a little bit easier to deal with, but it never completely goes away. And it never just can let you be, you know? So what do I have to change? What do I have to do to actually start being more consistent, to have a positive expectancy in this game? What do I need to do? Number one, I'm probably, and I've said this many times before, I have a piece of paper that I keep with me every day that I really need to start looking at every day. 2 contract position sizes for a week, at least a week. 2 contract position sizes, and that's just to get my confidence back. That's to get my confidence back. That's to get me back into the game as a warm-up. And then 3 to 5 point stop, fixed. I'm typically discretionary trader, and I like to put my stops below the lowest low of whatever structure I'm looking at if I'm trading a filled breakdown. I can't do that right now. I can't, because those stops are way too wide. Even with 2 contracts, those stops are way too wide. And maybe I'm gonna get stopped out a lot prematurely. That's fine. But it's the name of the game. I have, over a large span of trades, this is, let's say it's like a 60% win rate. I'm gonna win 6 out of 10 trades. And as long as I have a fixed positive expectancy, I keep my stop fixed. And over the span of 10 trades, I'm profitable. Especially when I'm targeting like a 5-to-1 risk reward, Sometimes it's 5-to-1, sometimes it's more so like 3-to-1. But on average, it's anywhere between 3 to 5-to-1. I'll be risking 5 points to make at least 10 points. So technically it's a 2-to-1, sorry. So usually it's a 2-to-1. Actually, a lot of times it's a 1.5-to-1, if we're being completely honest. 1.5, 1.6 to 1. Because it's usually, if I'm using a 5-point stop. If I'm using a 3-point stop, then of course that changes. But if I'm using a 5-point stop, targeting 6 points, then it's almost a 1-to-1 essentially, or a 1.2 or whatever to 1. If it's a 3-point stop and I'm targeting 6, that's back to a 2-to-1. So it's hard, man. It's really hard. It's so difficult. I don't know if I'm gonna post this on YouTube or what. Maybe I'll just leave it for myself for now. But it's difficult. This trading game is, you have to just, if you have rules, you have to follow them. You have to follow them. And honestly, you have to have like hard limits for yourself. You have to have stops. You have to have take profits. You cannot rely on yourself to do anything, because human emotion just overtakes you. Human emotion just hijacks your better judgment. It's insane. And have there been times where I have overridden my human emotion and done what's logical? Yes, there's been many times in my trading where I have overcome the human emotion and I've overridden it, and I have done what was logical and what was sensible. But that doesn't happen all the time. It does not happen all the time, especially when the market is rallying and it causes a human emotion. That's it. It's emotional. Like when markets rally, it gets people emotional. When markets sell off, it gets people emotional. And these market makers, I don't want to say market makers because I know they don't really care about us, but the big guys, the institutions, the big traders, all these guys, they know that. I mean, they're human too, so they know that it triggers an emotional response for us. If we see the market rallying up really aggressively, instant feelings of FOMO, 100%. I don't care how good you've tamed FOMO. You see a market that's like the market that you're trading, you watch it rallying up like aggressively, instant FOMO. I don't care how good you are. And that's why it's important to trade your plan. It's important to take your setups, because sometimes those setups will lead to those monstrous moves. And if you're not positioned in a productive way to catch those aggressive moves with like a runner, then you're toast. You may as well not even look at the market, because it's gonna make you be really emotional. I know it does for me, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm aware of these faults, and I think you have to be. If you want to succeed in this game, you have to know your faults. You have to know where your weak point is so you can address it. I know where my weak points are, and I'm doing my best to address them. Hence why I'm making this video. I'm aware that I still struggle with FOMO. I am aware that I'm still chasing profits sometimes. I'm aware of this. I'm aware that the markets elicit an emotional response out of me. I'm aware of this. When they rally, when they sell, all of this. You have to get outside of yourself. You have to go beside yourself and just be addicted to just taking your setup. That's really all it is. You just have to wait for your setup. If the setup is not there, it does not matter what the market's doing. If your setup is not prevalent, it does not matter if the market is rallying or falling or whatever. It does not matter. I can tell you the past few weeks of this bear market, when we've been like selling off really hard, there have been tons of sells that I've missed out on. Tons. And sells are actually that's actually how I made most of my impressive gains. Sells are very lucrative. If you have a strong bear market that we've been in, and the sells are super strong, like they don't even, like there's some trades where like it didn't even bounce again. Like I would get in, terrible entry, absolutely garbage entry. You know, it flushes. I get in at the bottom of the flush. It barely even bounces up and it just continues going down. Those are the kinds of trades that I had. Okay? Is it good? Probably not. Like, not for my mental. For my entry-wise, no, it was terrible because I was just FOMOing in. Some of them I did actually plan and prepare and waited for triggers and got in. And majority of them were like them. A majority of the trades were like that. But there were a few where I just, I saw the sell and I just chased and it worked. But that's not what you should be doing. That's not what I should be doing, okay? And I'm gonna say that right up front. We all make mistakes. We're humans. But that's why you have to try to trade as much as you can like an algorithm. Trade as much as you can like a robot. The reason why I don't program an actual bot is because the strategy itself is sort of discretionary. A robot, I don't think, will be able to get all the nuances that I want to get with a trade, because the robot's not going to may not recognize the trade like a human can, but they sure as hell can manage the trade way better than a human can. So that's the disconnect. So for me, I can identify the trade and I can get into the trade and I can manage the trade. Obviously, a robot can do a better job of managing the trade than I can, but I can still manage the trade. I've managed many trades before. As long as you have your stop and your take profit, if you want to leave a runner, you leave a runner. You trail the stop up, you're golden. Okay? Well, I think that's all I wanted to let out. Honestly, man, it's been difficult. It's been very difficult, but we keep going. We keep going. We keep learning. We keep trying to get better. That's all we can do. All we can do is just try to get better. At least that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get better. All right. Hopefully next week is better. See you guys later.